we have to talk about this troubling CTV News headline and article. It basically frames a question around whether or not some Canadians feel, Canada is ready for a Sikh prime minister, a prime minister who wears a turban specifically. And the piece, while it only quotes one person, is framed around this narrative that Canadians, at least some Canadians, are not ready for a prime minister like Jagmeet Singh. That, because he wears a turban, because he's different, because he's not like us, because he doesn't know our way of life, he is not ready for this position. Or someone like him isn't ready for the position. And again, the piece doesn't necessarily say it agrees with those people. I don't think it says that at all, to be fair. But what it does do is it frames this as a legitimate point of view. It doesn't decry the xenophobia. It doesn't decry the discrimination. It doesn't decry the othering. It doesn't decry the fact that Jagmeet Singh is every bit as Canadian as you or I or anybody else. None of that. There's no pushback there. There's no contextualization there. There's no attempt to say that this is not a legitimate policy viewpoint. This is not like some people saying, well, some voters question voting for Andrew Scheer because he has a tax policy that maybe is regressive. Or some people question whether they can vote for Justin Trudeau given potential accusations of ethics violations. Or even some people suggest they can't vote for Jagmeet Singh in the NDP because they don't support raising taxes on the rich. Those are policy disagreements. This is the CTV News basically allowing a person without pushback, without any criticism, without any counter commentary to just say, I don't know. I don't know if I can vote for a guy with a turban, and just say, well, other people also agree with them, but we couldn't quote their names. And that's the piece. And then they, below they note that, Jagmeet Singh has talked about racism, that he's faced it, that his brother has faced it, and on and on and on. And that's the piece. That's the piece. It's really not a whole lot. And I think it's actually quite problematic. And it's problematic for two reasons above all. The first reason is that it obscures the counter narrative, which is that for every person that won't vote for Jagmeet Singh because of what he wears and what he believes and because of his skin tone, because there are people like that. I'm not denying that. There are many more people, I feel, who are inspired by him. People from the Sikh community, but indeed from every community, who see a young, dynamic, bright, inspiring, fun leader who is pushing boundaries in more ways than one. Who's pushing boundaries in the fact that he's a Sikh man running for prime minister, but also that he's pushing boundaries in the fact that he's calling for taxes on the rich and building new social programs and taking on the conservative and liberal status quo. He's pushing boundaries. And I think people are excited by that. And I think that's why early on in this campaign, it's undeniable to me that Jagmeet Singh is the only one who's really generating massive enthusiasm. It's not Scheer or May or Trudeau, who I feel is really pumping up, this campaign, this momentum. I think that's coming from Singh. And I think it's because he's inspiring people. And I was at an event here in Kingston. I made a video about it. And just after Jagmeet and I had a brief moment to speak, two young Muslim women, spoke to Jagmeet Singh about how he inspires them, about how the diversity he brings, the narrative he brings, makes them feel like this is a Canada that is a bit more welcoming than it was even a couple years ago. And that maybe Singh won't win, but that it's special that he's even at this stage. It matters. It really does. And that is way more important than quoting one discriminatory person at a rally somewhere in Canada saying, I don't know if I can vote for somebody with a turban, and trying to legitimize that point of view. And that gets to the second point, is this feeds into this whole narrative that a lot of people are conveniently using. And ironically, it's not people on the far right. They're open about why they don't like Jagmeet Singh. They are very open about it. And I disagree with those people, but they are not beating around any bushes. They don't like Jagmeet Singh. They will say it. They will use slurs. They will call him out directly and explicitly. We've seen the clips. We've seen what they've said to him. We've seen what they've said to his brother Guritan. We've seen these things. But it's liberals and Greens who are feeding into the narrative that is upheld by this piece. This narrative that it's not that I'm racist, guys. I'm really not. I have so many non-white friends. I'm not racist, but too many Canadians are racist, and we just can't vote for Jagmeet Singh because he can't win because other Canadians are racist. I'm sorry. We're just going to have to vote for white people again. We're just going to have to vote for the white Catholic son of a prime minister. I'm sorry. Or Greens, a lot of former NDPers who are like, Jagmeet Singh just can't succeed because of who he is or what he believes in. And so we have to go be in a party now with a white leader who wears a giant crucifix. There's no other choice. That's the Green Party and Liberal Party approaches here. And they will not say that. They will often not say that directly. The Greens were a little bit sloppy. They said the quiet part loud. But Liberals will use this through their operatives. They'll say things like, look, Singh can't win. Canada's too racist. Gotta vote for Trudeau. Can't split the vote. Have to vote for the white guy again. And this sort of piece, without any counter context, feeds that ugly narrative. It's a narrative being used against a diverse and bold and credible leader like Jagmeet Singh at a time when he's pushing boundaries both in who he is and what he believes in. And I think that's incredibly important. And I think, quote unquote, journalism like this does a disservice to this country, does a disservice to this campaign. And I have to say, I'm a fairly regular contributor to CTV News. I'm on CTV, every couple weeks. You'll probably see me there some more. And I must say that I'm a little disappointed that a brand, that a news source that I've done work with, and I think generally does decent work, put this piece out in the state it's in. I think it's irresponsible. I think it's unfair. I think it has a certain effect, maybe even unintentionally, to try to give other people cover for not voting for Singh because other people are racist. Liberals and Greens will share this, and they will use this narrative. Jonathan Richardson and Pierre Nantel, the two new Greens, have done this. I've seen liberal operatives, liberal social media experts, if you will, liberal Twitter, broadly defined, use this narrative. The media should stop feeding it. Jagmeet Singh has every bit the chance to win this election. Because for every person out there who is a racist against him, there are more people who are inspired by what he brings to Canadians. That should be the end of the story. We should stop platforming and legitimizing racist and discriminatory views as legitimate policy disagreements. And we have to do better as a country.